So in today's video, we're going to look at how to create the section scores in the graph that we see here. Originally, we were going to do if error, but we don't have to use that formula because I changed the format of the graph, and when I did so, it took this NA from showing up on the graph like it would up here, and we don't need it anymore. If error would have just wrapped this basically here to say if there's an error in the formula, then just choose 0 and blank it out. Instead, we don't have to do that. So what we want to do is we want to look at this table. We have here the 3 tests with our subsections, and then we just put them here. The key point here was naming this section so that we could use it in the VLOOK really easily. So we'll go in, we'll copy our years, and then we're going to do our VLOOKUP. So the first thing to do is to work across with our sections, tying that to our drop-down list. So we'll say equals VLOOKUP. Then we'll choose this. We'll make it absolute. So $A, $2, that way it doesn't change. Then we'll do comma. We'll choose sections because that's the table that we're pulling from. And then comma, 2, comma, and then false. And close that. And then that gives us our elementary algebra. So we can drag this across. And we can change our column indexes here from, we got 4. So now we have our 3 here. So our next step is going to do VLOOKUP to find the scores here. But we're going to tie it to what's listed here because what's listed here will change as we change this. So what we'll do is we'll say equals VLOOKUP. Now our lookup value is going to be here. We're going to go ahead and do a $ and make this absolute, because we're going to go down first, and then when we go over, we'll change the B to a C and then the C to a D. So we've got B12. So then we're going to do scores, because that's where our numbers are, 2 and then false. So that gives us the 9.2, which is right here, usage of mechanics 9.2. So we'll drag down, and then all we have to do is to update our column. So 3, and then 4, and then 5 and 6, and then finally 7. Now what we can do next is we can take these and we can drag these across, and then just highlight here, and then we do find and replace. So we'll replace B with C, and then we'll replace B with D. And so there we have our information. Now we can check that. We can go to math, make sure that we get all 3. So now that we have that, what we want to do is graph it. So we'll go to highlight all of these, and we'll go to insert. We're going to put the 2D column in it first. So when we do the 2D column, the flat layout, you'll notice at first this looks perfectly fine. We just need to make some changes just in terms of what's showing up. But what happens is when we go to data labels for this, and we put those numbers in, and then we come over here to math, and we change this to English, notice that we get the NA here, which is just kind of annoying. I don't want to see that on the screen. What we can do is we go over here to design, and we'll change the chart type, and we'll choose this one. And then we're going to choose here to make it the way we want to look here, flat. Notice now that that doesn't show up. It's no longer there anymore, which is that's what we want to do. We want to just have it nice and clean. It's easy to see. So our next step is to make this a little bigger so that it separates out the numbers. Then we're going to highlight them, make sure that we can see them good, change them to black and bold them. Now one of the things I notice here is I don't like the placement of these in gray. For one, I don't like the gray itself. So I can go to format and I can change that fill to a different color. And because I know it's math, we could change it to red. And that makes it a little bit easier to view. Make it a little larger if we like. Now the next thing here is to go in and just update what we're looking at, darken it up, make it a little bit easier to see. Now, chart title, we want to tie it just like we did with math. We're going to tie it up here. So we'll do this and we'll hit equals and click on it and hit enter. Now it's going to say math. And get it looking the way we want, like this. So now we have this chart here and we have our chart here. So what's going to happen is when we change to English, now it shows English here and it shows our usage of mechanics and our rhetorical skills. So now we see our subscores. The other thing we did is because we see this NA is we just went in and highlighted it and changed it to white. Highlight here and just tell it to ignore the error. And now it doesn't look like that's there. And it just shows these two. So that's what we want to see. And so now it looks nice and clean. And then what we'll do with our next video is we'll go in and make this look like this with that true dashboard with this out. So it'll end up looking like this.